Prince Edward is the youngest of Elizabeth II and Prince Philip's 4 children. His Highness is currently 13th in line to the throne and, unsurprisingly, his ambitions have always been outside the crown. The Earl of Wessex's life can be described as fascinating, even by royal standards, but not all the curious details made it into the public eye. Giving up a military career for the arts. Like his older brother Charles, Edward enrolled at Cambridge, where he majored in history, graduating in 1986. Read also, who of the Windsors is the smartest and best educated. The prince then considered enlisting in the Royal Marines and even began training, but soon decided that the art world was his thing. Rumor has it that the Duke of Edinburgh supported his decision to abandon his military career. Edward went into television production and ran his own production company. From an early age he had a passion for the arts and spent his early years in the industry. At the age of 23, His Highness worked as a production assistant for Andrew Lloyd Webber's Really Useful Theatre Company. Edward's own productions proved to be a failure and he switched from theatre to television. In 1993, the Prince founded Ardent Productions and attracted a £2.2 million investment. Despite the monarch's son's promise to dispense with royal content, the company produced documentaries on British rulers and palaces. In Britain, Ardent Productions' television programs were often scolded, but in the United States they were hugely successful. The company eventually closed. Very close to his father. Although Philip has always considered his favorite person to be Anne, who is very much like him in character, royal observers agree that the Duke of Edinburgh and his youngest son have maintained a close and warm relationship throughout their lives. Perhaps it is also due to the circumstances of Prince Edward's birth. According to Ingrid Seward, author of the book My Husband and I, The Inside Story of 70 Years of Royal Marriage, Philip was present at Edward's birth, which in 1964 was very progressive. On his wedding day to Sophie Rhys-Jones in June 1999, Edward took the title of Earl of Wessex, which he shared with his wife. The news was disconcerting. The tradition foresaw dukes for the children and grandchildren of the Queen. There were rumors of the monarch's displeasure with his youngest son, Edward's infatuation with the film Shakespeare in Love, starring Colin Firth as Lord of Wessex, and the prince's jealousy of his older brothers with more substantial titles. Another curious fact, the title of Earl of Wessex has only been granted twice, and both times almost 1,000 years ago. The fact is that Wessex as a region technically no longer exists. Ambassador for an organization that helps young people carve out a future. Prince Philip and his youngest son have long been linked by another circumstance. Edward played a key role in the Duke of Edinburgh's award. The program offers British teenagers and young people the opportunity to develop skills that will help them when applying for university or getting a job. The award distinguishes the following sections: volunteering, fitness, skills, expedition and accommodation. As an ambassador, Edward stresses that the program also reaches out to people outside the UK and pays particular attention to the disadvantaged and marginalised. Edward is the only one of Elizabeth and Philip's children who has not been divorced. The marriages of Charles, Anne and Andrew fell apart almost simultaneously, in the early 1990s, when the young and cautious Edward had not yet married. With his future wife Sophie, the prince was on the same wavelength. They looked at each other for a long time before getting married. And it turned out to be strong. The spouses lived together for more than 20 years and are still happy. Read also, Love Not at First Sight, the quiet happiness of Edward and Sophie of Wessex, raised 2 children. Edward and his wife Sophia have 2 children, Lady Louise Windsor and James, Viscount Severn. They are the youngest of Elizabeth and Philip's grandchildren and are reputed to be the royal couple's favorites. Louisa, born in November 2003, is the 15th in the royal line of succession, while James, born in December 2007, is the 14th. In Canada, lakes have been named after the prince's 2 children, a classy gesture by Manitoba Premier Gary Dewar.